A rumor has been gaining traction behind the scenes, and I wasn't expecting this detail to surface so soon. There is a massive, explosive kidnapping plot on the horizon, and it feels like a secret someone at the network is desperately trying to keep hidden from the public eye. We have all seen the subtle clues scattered throughout the recent episodes, the lingering camera angles, the strange shadows lurking in the background. But what I am hearing from the insider buzz suggests that this is not just a standard daytime drama abduction. We are talking about a double kidnapping, a situation where two characters are taken simultaneously, thrown into a life or death scenario that will permanently alter the landscape of the show. The stakes are supposedly higher than ever, and the survival rate might not be 100%. Something about this feels hidden. The network has been incredibly tight-lipped, going out of their way to misdirect the audience with other dramatic subplots. But if you ask me, the real danger is quietly closing in on Trina. We have all noticed the signs. There has been a mysterious figure tailing Trina, keeping tabs on her every move, watching her from a distance. The tension has been building at a slow, agonizing pace, making us all wonder when the other shoe is going to drop. But the leak suggests that Trina will not be the only victim. The rumor mill is spinning out of control, with the idea that Kai will also be caught in the crossfire, dragged into this nightmare alongside Trina. And that is where the narrative takes a sharp, unexpected turn, complicating everything we thought we knew about this impending disaster. Everyone assumes that the stalker is just another obsessed fan or a random enemy with a superficial grudge. Most viewers believe that Quinn, given his well-documented dislike for Trina, is the obvious culprit. The obvious explanation seems to be that Quinn has finally snapped, letting his animosity drive him to commit a desperate, violent act. People are taking to the forums, dissecting Quinn's past behavior, and pointing out every time he glared at Trina or made a passive-aggressive comment. It is the easy route, the narrative path of least resistance. Fans are predicting a straightforward hostage situation where Quinn makes his demands, the police negotiate, and eventually, the heroes swoop in to save the day without any real casualties. But let us dig a little deeper into that assumption. Quinn and Kai are friends. They have a history, a bond, that has been established on screen. Why on earth would Quinn orchestrate a kidnapping that puts his own friend in mortal danger? It simply does not add up. If Quinn were acting alone, driven purely by his disdain for Trina, he would have isolated her. He would have ensured that Kai was nowhere near the danger zone. The fact that Kai is supposedly taken alongside Trina pokes a massive hole in the theory that Quinn is the mastermind. The general consensus is too neat, too predictable for a show that thrives on shocking twists and hidden agendas. There has to be a missing puzzle piece, a hidden variable that completely changes the equation. What if we're looking at this the wrong way? What if that wasn't the real reason at all? What if someone else planned this and the situation is being manipulated from the shadows? I keep wondering whether Quinn is not the predator, but rather a pawn on a much larger, much more dangerous chessboard. Imagine a scenario where Quinn is being controlled, bought, or blackmailed by someone with pockets deep enough and a heart cold enough to orchestrate this double abduction. Someone who does not care about Quinn's friendship with Kai. Someone whose only goal is absolute, devastating revenge. And when you think about characters with a vendetta against Trina, characters who operate with that level of ruthless cunning, one name immediately echoes in the darkness. Guys, what if Esme is back? The insider buzz strongly hints that Esme did not perish as everyone believes. Instead, she survived, went completely off the grid, and has been secretly plotting her triumphant, terrifying return to Port Charles. Rather than announcing her survival and facing the legal and social consequences, she is hiding in the shadows, pulling the strings like a malicious puppeteer. Esme has every reason to loathe Trina. Her hatred is deep-rooted, toxic, and entirely consuming. If Esme is the true mastermind, it perfectly explains why a seemingly low-level threat like Quinn would suddenly escalate to a high-stakes double kidnapping. Esme has the manipulative prowess to find Quinn's weak spot, be it a desperate need for money, a hidden secret, or a false promise, and exploit it to do her dirty work. In this alternative storyline, Quinn agrees to the plan, blinded by whatever Esme offered him. He likely believes this is just a scare tactic, a simple abduction to shake Trina up, grab the ransom or the reward, and let everyone go home relatively unharmed. He thinks he is in control. But Esme never intended to leave any survivors. Her endgame is not a ransom. It is eradication. She wants to permanently eliminate the people she despises, starting with Trina. And because Kai happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or perhaps because Esme views him as acceptable collateral damage, he gets swept up into her lethal web. This completely shifts the dynamic from a simple stalker plot to a calculated assassination attempt orchestrated by one of the most dangerous villains the town has ever seen. Now, because this is unconfirmed information, we have to look at all the angles. There may be more going on here, and we need to break down the different ways this could play out. That's one possibility, but another theory is that Quinn is fully aware of Esme's lethal intentions from the very beginning. In this first scenario, Quinn's hatred for Trina is so intense that it overrides his loyalty to Kai. He willingly sacrifices his friend just to see Trina suffer. He becomes a full-fledged accomplice to murder, working side by side with Esme to dig the graves. This would be a massive, irredeemable heel turn for Quinn, transforming him from a bitter acquaintance into a cold-blooded killer. It would shock the audience to see a character cross that ultimate line without any hesitation. Let us move to possibility number 2. What if Esme is not actually in Port Charles physically? What if she is orchestrating this entire nightmare remotely from a secure location halfway across the world? She could be using encrypted messages, voice modulators, and untraceable funds to control Quinn. In this version of events, Quinn might not even know he is working for Esme. He might think he is dealing with a rival mob boss or an anonymous benefactor. When the situation escalates and Kai's life is threatened, Quinn has no way to contact his mysterious boss to call it off. He is trapped in a deadly scenario of his own making, fighting against invisible orders, and the psychological terror of realizing he has been played by an unseen ghost would make for incredible television. Then there is possibility number 3, which involves a massive case of mistaken identity. What if Esme's primary target for this specific kidnapping was never Trina, but someone else entirely, and Quinn simply grabbed the wrong people in a panicked rush? Imagine the chaos if Esme wanted Jocelyn taken first, but due to a mix-up in schedules or locations, Trina and Kai end up in the crosshairs. Quinn, terrified of failing his psychotic employer, decides to roll with it, hoping Esme will accept Trina as a substitute victim. This scenario adds a layer of dark comedy and frantic desperation to the plot, as Quinn tries to manage 2 hostages he never meant to take, while Esme furiously demands to know why her meticulously crafted plan is falling apart. Each of those scenarios completely changes how we view the narrative. However, none of them carry the emotional weight and absolute devastation of the rumor that is currently keeping me awake at night. If you ask me, the writers are aiming for maximum heartbreak. They do not just want to scare the audience. They want to leave a lasting scar. And to do that, someone has to pay the ultimate price. We are not just talking about a close call or a dramatic rescue at the 11th hour. We are talking about a permanent exit, a tragic loss that will ripple through the canvas for years to come. Here is the boldest, most haunting theory that is making the rounds behind the scenes. The tragedy begins when the illusion shatters for Quinn. He brings Trina and Kai to the secluded location, expecting a payoff. Instead, Esme steps out of the shadows, revealing her true murderous intent. And she does not hesitate. According to this dark leak, Kai will be the first to fall. Before anyone can negotiate, before Quinn can even process what is happening, Esme strikes, and Kai becomes the tragic, unintended casualty of her vengeance. The visual of Kai losing his life right in front of Trina and Quinn is the kind of shocking, visceral moment that defines a soap opera era. Witnessing the brutal murder of his friend acts as a horrifying wake-up call for Quinn. The fog of manipulation clears, replaced by agonizing guilt and raw panic. He realizes he has aided a monster. In that split second, Quinn's character arc shifts from antagonist to tragic hero. Knowing that Trina is next on Esme's hit list, Quinn makes a split-second, fatal decision. He turns on Esme. An intense, desperate physical struggle ensues. Quinn uses every ounce of his remaining strength to fight off the woman who tricked him, screaming for Trina to run. This is not a calculated fight. It is a chaotic, bloody brawl born of pure regret. In this devastating scenario, Quinn sacrifices his own life to buy Trina the precious seconds she needs to escape. He takes the fatal blow meant for her. As he falls, his final act of redemption is complete, paying for his gullibility and bitterness with his last breath. 2 lives lost in a matter of minutes. It is a bloodbath that nobody saw coming. Trina, traumatized and running on pure adrenaline, manages to break free from the nightmare, fleeing into the night as Esme frantically tries to pursue her to eliminate the only surviving witness. But the universe finally cuts Trina a break, and she manages to reach the authorities, blowing the lid off Esme's secret return. With the police closing in and her cover completely blown, Esme realizes that staying in town means spending the rest of her life behind bars. She is forced to abandon her immediate plans, slipping back into the darkness just as the sirens approach. The authorities find the tragic aftermath, the bodies of Kai and Quinn, but the mastermind has vanished like a ghost. The town is left to mourn, to piece together the horrific events, and to live with the chilling knowledge that a killer is still out there, biding her time. But here is the thing that really gets under your skin. Trina was never the only name on Esme's list. If this rumor holds any truth, the nightmare is far from over. Jocelyn is still out there, completely unaware that a ghost with a vendetta is lurking just beyond the city limits. Will Esme regroup and return to finish what she started? Will Jocelyn be the next to find herself in the crosshairs of a mad woman with nothing left to lose? I cannot confirm anything right now, and the network is certainly not talking. This could all be a wild theory, or it could be the exact blueprint for the most explosive sweeps month we have ever seen. One thing is for sure, there is definitely something dark brewing, and the story is far from over. Stay tuned, because this is about to get wild.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.